All right. Close your eyes. Listen to the word disappointment. What vibrant and colorful images does the word evoke? Okay, you can open your eyes now. Probably not very nice thoughts. If you're like me, that's probably where you are with that. See, here in the US, most of us grew up watching movies with happy endings. We're a hyper diverse society, but there are a few core strands that unite us. And the quest for our dreams, the pursuit of happiness, is one such strand. Sometimes that leaves some of us ill equipped to find the bright side of disappointment. In fact, disappointment is realizing that the bright side is no bright side at all. To borrow a metaphor from the film The Matrix, most of us would rather take the blue pill and continue to live a nice lie rather than take the red pill and see the truth, warts and all. But disappointment can also be the proverbial blessing in disguise. The door that, when unlocked, leads us from a faded fantasy into a fulfilling life. If we want not only to survive, but to thrive and flourish, we must embrace disappointment. It is the key to my success. That's right. If I had not done that, I might not be here talking to you today. Allow me to explain. You're going to meet my 9-year-old self. He's smart, confident, and knows what he wants. He wants to be a lawyer. He has it all figured out. Hi, everybody. That's right. I'm 9-year-old Diego, and I'll tell you what my plans are. I'm going to be the high school valedictorian. Yeah, me, high school valedictorian. I'm also going to get into an Ivy League school, get a nice BA, go into an Ivy League law school, graduate at the top, meet a bunch of smart, interesting colleagues who will join me as paladins of justice to make life better for all. They will all be successful and good people and creative and fun. And after that, I'll become a millionaire and then senator, then president. And by then, surely there will be a world government. So I'll be president of that or whatever they call it. And if they have people in Mars, I'll go there too. And I'll announce the new dawn of a new era of world peace. And after that, I don't know, I'm just 9, so I haven't thought that far ahead, so I'm gonna get out of here. So, thank you, 9-year-old me. Sorry about the hat thing. It's the only way I could figure out how to make it 9-year-old thing, but I never even wore a hat sideways like that, but you get the picture. Anyway, how did all that turn out? Well, I didn't graduate valedictorian. I did not even try to get into an Ivy League law school or undergrad or any of that. See, with my father's sudden death when I was 17, I was left aimless, shocked, and so confused that I didn't even try to get into college at all. In fact, trying to find some direction in life, after high school, I enlisted in the Navy. And eventually, I got my BA from the college at the Naval Base. And after the Navy, I was lucky enough to apply and get accepted to the nice public law school of my choice. As of today, I'm not a millionaire, governor, senator, or you probably figured it out, president. Now, my 9-year-old self has no idea that this is how things turn out. He's having way too much fun planning his future, so let's leave him alone and go check on someone else. I'm going to introduce you to my 29-year-old self. Hi, I'm Diego. I'm 29. I work at a small law firm focusing on civil litigation. The partners are nice and they're a little set in their ways, but they're clever and pretty professional and good people, I guess. The pay is decent. I usually don't work overtime. Sorry, I'm a little hungover. Anyway, I don't work a lot, too much all the time, but I'm pretty busy. But a lot of times I just kind of stare out the window into the lake outside and just wonder when I'm just gonna like take my car and drive it into that beautiful blue water and never come back up. Thank you, 29-year-old Diego. So if I had been more realistic, it should have been maybe 30 pounds bigger and fewer gray hairs, but other than that, that was pretty accurate. So what was going on with that guy? What's going on with me? I dreamed of transforming lives. Instead, I took these big old fat folders bursting at the seams with paper, and by the alchemy of my pen and sweat, I transformed them into billable hour gold. If for a change I had a client that stirred my passion for justice, they never had enough money to get them very far into any process. So, in order to save them from a big injustice tomorrow and breaking their bank into trying to find some justice in the process, I had to negotiate some half-baked settlement for a small injustice today. I dreamed of bending the arc of history toward justice, but instead I watched how it was pulled by the heaviest bags of money. Yep, I was disappointed. My childhood dreams had started to bloom, but then they withered and died and rotted. I had no passion, no purpose. I had always wanted to be a lawyer, but that was not what I had in mind. So how did I handle it? I ate, I drank, I ate, I drank, I partied, I ate, I partied, I drank, I spent, I got into debt. I threw anything I could into the gaping hole of my disillusion. I was narcissistic and shallow and self-pitying and self-centered and self-absorbed, and I knew it. And I felt awful about it too. So how did I try to fix that? By eating and drinking and partying and spending some more. I wanted to drown the memory of my father. I wanted to drown the memory of my dreams. I wanted to drown the memory of myself. And yet, by force of habit, I also kept going to interviews and networking and praying for a miracle. Eventually, I landed a job at a software company negotiating sales contracts. Now, it was not the traditional legal job, but no billable hours. It did put me a little further away from the path to fulfilling all my childhood dreams, but at this point, I was just happy about the change of scene. A few years later, I landed a position as senior commercial counsel for Spanish lodging distributors' U.S. operations. The job, very challenging and stressful, but rewarding too. I got to prove my chops as a business lawyer and learn a lot and travel lots while I did it. Now, it turned out that the company was just one asset in a private equity company's portfolio. So, as part of a right-sizing exercise before a sale, I was laid off. Back at the bottom again. And then, a month later, they called me back to hire me back. Can you believe that? Back on top again. Although, I wasn't so trusting this time, but still, it was nice. But then, Just 3 months after all of that, COVID-19. COVID. While working for a company selling hotel rooms. Do the math. So my salary was slashed. My hours doubled. Everybody around me was freaking out. Soon I was too. I was burnt out, stressed out, overworked, and frankly, over it. Yep. I was down again. I started feeling really sorry for myself, but I knew where that would lead. I had been there before. So, after wrestling with my cynicism and pessimism, and most of all my pride, I decided to give mental health counseling a shot. And that's when my life started to turn. Through cognitive behavioral therapy, I began to see the feedback loop between my thoughts and my actions and their consequences. Then I tried meditation and learned how the illusion of the self is the source of so much of our suffering. Shout out to Sam Harris's Waking Up app. This is not a paid ad, but great app. I also started to study Stoicism, first through the books of Professor William B. Irvine, whom I discovered through the Waking Up app. Shout out to him too. And then through Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. Shout out to those three as well. Acting on their advice, I reflected on the brevity of life, the certainty of death, the uncertainty of everything else, and the value of embracing the simple things and of loving your destiny. Amor fati, love your fate. The whole thing was like a bomb to my overheated brain. And then, one day, listening to the Waking Up app, I heard Sam Harris in conversation with poet David Whyte. Whyte was discussing his book, Consolations, in which he breathes a breath of new life into words that have all but lost their vitality through overuse. I was intrigued, so I ordered a copy right away. Now, I'm mostly a Kindle person, but poetry I must touch. So the book took a few days to arrive. But once it did, oh my God, I opened it and boy, I was amazed at how much of my unspoken inner turmoil Whyte had put into words. And one of the words he wrote about was disappointment. According to Whyte, disappointment is a misunderstood mercy. We can step through it into truth and the freedom this brings. He writes, and I quote, "The measure of our courage is taken by the measure of our willingness to face disappointment rather than run away." Unquote. Reflecting on disappointment as an invitation to a new reality made what I was learning through meditation and Stoicism really click. The key to freedom, turns out, is being able to see things and embrace them exactly as they are. Exactly as they are. So here's the quote again. "The measure of our courage is taken by the measure of our willingness to face disappointment rather than run away." So like Luke Skywalker hearing Obi-Wan's whispers from the beyond, I heeded the ancient Senecas and the timeless Whyte's exhortation. It's time. And this time, I did not run away. I faced my reality. I was not rich or famous. My political experience peaked with stints as local voluntary bar president and HOA board member. I would likely never be rich, senator, or president. But I was healthy. I could breathe, which is a lot to say in this COVID era. I had a house, a wonderful spouse, ridiculously adorable four-legged kids, plenty of time for the things I want to do, privacy, freedom, I found myself lucky to have my life. I found myself lucky to be me. I also look back at my dreams of fame, fortune, glory, and I remembered Seneca's words, quote, "Do not envy the glory of the ambitious. They give up their time, their life, their tranquility, and their dignity to get to where they are, and then only too late they realize that it's all for a line on an epitaph," unquote. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with ambition per se, but the track record of naked ambition as a path toward lasting happiness is res ipsa loquitur. Conversely, I don't think disappointment is intrinsically good. It is only a door toward redemption. But we must walk through it by facing our reality critically and courageously. Otherwise, disappointment, rather than a door, might as well be a dead end. Now me, having come face to face with my disappointment, I finally walked through the door toward the freedom to chart the course of my life and embark on the journey with eyes open. David Whyte closes his essay on disappointment as follows. Quote, "Disappointment is a friend to transformation, a call to both accuracy and generosity in the assessment of ourselves and others, a test of sincerity and a catalyst of resilience. Disappointment is just the initial meeting with the frontier of an evolving life, an invitation to reality, which we expected to be one particular way and turns out to be another. Often something more difficult, more overwhelming, and strangely, in the end, more rewarding," unquote. The right, the obligation to the pursuit of happiness, to go and make our dreams come true, that is the quintessential American ideal. We must not lose that. But we must also remember that sometimes we must leave the clouds and find solid ground to correct our course. Sometimes the landing must be negotiated alone. And sometimes we need to be brave enough to accept help from friends, from health professionals, ancient and present-day philosophers, and modern poets with a timeless voice. I wish I could tell my 29-year-old self that his future does not lie at the bottom of a beautiful blue lake. That, yes, the flowers of his fantastic childhood dreams will one day wither, die, and rot. But that by doing so, they will become the soil in which his life, his true life, will take root and flourish. Thank you.